Hello to everyone. I am Father Willie Samson from the Society of Jesus, now presently assigned here at the Jesuit Mission Station here in the Diocese of Caloocan. 2 years ago, I was actually assigned here to be the leader or the shepherd or the pastor of the Jesuit Mission Station to be able to help the poorest of the poor here in Caloocan City. Today, I was actually tasked to give you my own sharings of my own understanding of what are the qualities of an Ignatian leader. Since what I'm going to share to you are basically my own experiences with regard to my own assignment, but at the same time also to see how I use all those Ignatian values which helped me to become an Ignatian leader. I am a Jesuit. You are an Atenean. And Ateneans are supposed to be born to be a natural leader. So therefore, as a leader, and since all of us are sons and daughters of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, it is expected that the core values and the characteristics of Saint Ignatius of Loyola will also be with us in terms of our own desire to lead people. The qualities of Saint Ignatius of Loyola is also with us as Ateneans and as Jesuit. So today, my friends, I'm going to give you 9 important characteristics of an Ignatian leader. But before that, let me somehow give you some understanding that in my own formation as a Jesuit, I realized that in the Ateneo and also as a Jesuit, there are 3 formations that we are supposed to undertake, which in a way very integrative to make us to experience an integrative formation for all of us. The first one is the formation of the head, the formation of the heart, the formation of the hand. In the Ateneo, wherever you are, in the Ateneo de Manila, Ateneo de Naga, Ateneo de Zamboanga, our main consideration or goal is to form all of you in the context of the school of the head. In other words, formation of the head, intellectual formation, so that in the end, we can be good in critical thinking. The second formation or school in the Ateneo is the formation of the heart. This is where our spirituality lies. And since we are Ateneans in the Jesuit school, the Ignatian spirituality must be the center of our own life. It must be the main center in terms of our own decision making. Formation of the heart is basically the formation of our own spirituality. And the last one for the Ateneans, the last formation that we are supposed to undertake is the formation of the hand. The formation of service, to understand that we are men and women for other people. That our own formation of the head, our own formation of the heart is geared toward service or rendering to become men and women for other people, to respond to the different challenges and signs of times with regard to serving them to become the presence of God in our own society. At the very beginning, I realized that everywhere I go here as a Jesuit, when I go to Ateneo, any Ateneo, or even when I go abroad, I realized that whatever school, Jesuit school that I go or went, I realized that we share the same values, the same language, the same understanding, the same worldview, because we share one formation. And this is quite and very interesting for us to know that we share one formation and one Ignatian leadership. So the question right now is, what makes an Ignatian leader or an Ateneo leader different from other leaders. Of course, more or less, they are the same. But in the end, there are certain qualities, certain core values that you know that this person is an Ignatian leader because of those highlighted or very clear or crystal clear manifestation of some characteristics present in us as Ignatian leaders. I'm going to give you 9 important characteristics. The first one is an Ignatian leader in terms of quality. The first thing that I have recognized or have seen is that we have this magis, our own sense of ability to stretch ourselves, to stretch our heart. Magis means more. Magis means more love, more quality. It does not mean more worth. It is more on we don't settle for average. We don't settle for ready na yan, okay na yan. Magis means we push, we stretch, because maturity and also excellence, which will only come from our own desire to go for more. So excellence is more. Loving is magis when we go for more. We don't say that we have learned how to love if we settle for average. Magis is loving. Magis is giving more, stretching ourselves. For St. Ignatius of Loyola, this is actually very clear. He will always go for more. Even to the point of he decided to study different in different countries in his own formation to be able to learn the different arts, different studies in order to serve the people by becoming a learned person by studying in the different universities. Magis even to the point that he decided to join those little children, if you know, in his story, to learn Latin in order for him to be able to learn other disciplines, because Latin is necessary, but it will require him to return to elementary or grade school and be with little children to study Latin. That's very, very humiliating. But for St. Ignatius, go for more. Go for more. Go for magis. The second quality of an Ignatian leader is cura personalis. It means it is important for us to recognize that we touch people, we convert people, we influence people through personal care. Helping other people, for St. Ignatius of Loyola or for any leaders, we don't settle for just giving gifts. We are supposed to be there. We are supposed to be the presence of God in front of many people. In other words, talagang nandun tayo, nakikisama tayo. Kaibigan natin ang lahat ng tao. Naaamoy natin ang lahat ng baho. Parang ako na narito ngayon sa Sacred Heart Mission Station. Ako po'y hindi nakatira sa parokya. Ako po'y nakatira mismo sa isang apartment dito kasama ng mga maralita upang masabi na hindi sila pinababayaan ng Diyos at hindi sila pinababayaan ng simbahan. Personal care. Personal care means presence. That's why if you're an Ignatian leader, you're supposed to be a friend. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be sensitive to the needs of all other people, especially all your members. Because cura personalis is important as one characteristic of an Ignatian leader. Number 3, we also recognize that if you're an Ignatian leader, we have in a way accepted the reality that we are sinners yet called by God. When I look at my own life, I know that there are some better person to become a Jesuit. I know that there are some better person or much more intellectual person to become a Jesuit. Because I know that I am a sinner. I know that I'm not a perfect person. And yet I cannot deny the reality that when I go to prayer, I can feel that God is calling me to serve Him. I am a sinner, yet called by God. In humility, as a leader, I recognize in full humility that I am a sinner. And yet I also recognize that God is actually calling me. In the Society of Jesus, we tend to say always that the members of the Society of Jesus are sinners yet called by God. You are also should be grounded to such reality that we are sinners, that we are limited, that we are not perfect people. And so therefore, in full humility, we say to the Lord, Lord, thank you Kahit na ako'y makasalanan, tinawag mo ako. Salamat sa tawag. And because of that, because of such reality that God gave me many chances. God gave me another chance to redeem myself. I decided to serve Him because I owe God a lot, because He loves me in spite of my own limitations and sinfulness. I'm a sinner, yet called by God. This is our own grounding. It makes us humble to know that we are sinners, yet called by God. Yet, the reality that we are being called by God give us a certain level of pride and joy because God loves us. The fourth characteristic of an Ignatian leader is what we call the discernment of spirit. No? The discernment of spirit. Here, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, in his own life, especially when he was in Manresa, also recognized, my friend, the different spirits trying to get his own attention. He realized that in his own decision making, the evil spirit is actually there. The good spirit is also there. His own spirit is also there. So it is important for him to discern and to detect where is the good spirit, where is the bad spirit. Come to think of it, my friends, whoever you are right now, whatever is your own position right now, whatever you have reached or your status right now, who you are right now is basically the product of our own decision making. So it is important for us not to commit a mistake in decision making because we are the byproduct of our own decision making. Good decision, right decision, following the will of God is necessary in order to find our own happiness and our own fullness of life. So, it is important for us to learn how to discern. And how can I learn how to discern? The only way for me to be able to learn how to discern is to go to prayer. To have a deeply rooted relationship with the Lord in prayer, to learn the arts and the rope of reflection, reading the Bible, contemplation, meditation, because through our own reflection, through our own desire to become sensitive to the movement of God, then we may also learn how to follow God and listen to where God wants us to be. So discernment of spirit is necessary. So pray, kung ikaw ay isang leader o isang Ateneo na gusto maging isang leader, lagi kang mananalangin sa Diyos na Panginoon, sana bigyan mo ako ng capacity also to discern and to know where is your will. Number 6, sad to say I don't have that paper, is an Ignatian leader should always go to the periphery. An Ignatian leader should always leave his own comfort zone, go to the risk zone to follow the will of God. Always be reminded, my friends, that there's no miracle inside the comfort zones. If you want to experience maturity, changes, miracle, improvement in our own life, or genuine happiness, leave your own comfort zones and follow God. Saint Ignatius of Loyola have also recognized the importance of following God, especially following the will of God. That's why in his desire to follow God, the Society of Jesus, the first companions of Saint Ignatius of Loyola and Saint Ignatius himself, decided to go to the Pope and said, Lord or Pope, tell us, where do you want us to go? Send us to places where nobody dare or wants to go, and we will go. Because for Saint Ignatius of Loyola, going to the peripheries or going or living our own comfort zones must always be one of the best traits or core values of an Ignatian leader. Ganun ka ba? Are you daring enough to leave your own comfort zones? To be much more brave enough to go to certain peripheries, certain mission that we are being invited or you are being invited to make a difference, especially to the other people. Number 6, we are also in a way being called to be number 6 is to recognize that we're supposed to be followers of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. But Saint Ignatius of Loyola is a devoted follower of Jesus. But what kind of Jesus? Saint Ignatius will always insist that we are supposed to be crucicentrics. The Ignatian spirituality, my friends, is crucicentrics. It means that the Christ that we are following is the crucified Christ. In other words, more than the Christ that can heal, that can multiply bread, that can cast out evil spirit, that can face all those Pharisees and scribes, or that can walk water. Yes, this is the Christ or the Jesus that we want to follow. But we are crucicentrics. Therefore, we are supposed to follow also the Christ on the cross. We are supposed to imitate the Lord giving His life for other people to save the humanity. This is also our own main desire, not just to become popular like the Lord or the Jesus that multiplies bread and heal people. We are supposed to follow also Jesus on the cross until death, to offer our life also for other people, to save other people like the crucified Christ. So Ignatian spirituality is basically crucicentrics. As an Ignatian leader, this is also our desire to follow Jesus, to sacrifice for other people, to die for other people, to embrace even pain in order for us to bring better life for other people. The next characteristic that I am proposing, which is important, is the desire to totally offer ourselves to God and to other people in the service of faith, in the service of justice. The word is suchipe, total offering of ourselves after recognizing, my friends, that we are so blessed. That in the end, we recognize that the reason why we are so blessed is not just for the sake of ourselves, but for the sake of other people. The reason why God has forgiven us is because we are being invited by the Lord to forgive other people. The reason why the Lord saved us in order for us to save also other people. The reason why God is actually giving us so many blessings so that we may be able to bless also other people. So that's very important. Total offering, total service. As a leader, this should always be with us as one of our main core characteristics like Saint Ignatius of Loyola. The last one, my friend, is also, I cannot deny the reality that Ignatian leaders are good followers, no? And good followers are supposed to be good leaders also. You know, I do not know if you have seen the movie The Minions. The Minions are a very interesting movie because the Minions are basically, they are those cute little uh, creatures. They are so industrious. They are so passionate. They are so creative. They are so joyful. All positive traits are with them, except one. They are searching for the evil or the most evil leader to follow. This is actually quite very interesting because in the end, this is actually also us. When you look at your own self, especially the young people right now, you are also very intelligent. You are very creative. You are very spontaneous. You are hardworking. All the positive characteristics are also with you, but somehow we are also being invited by Saint Ignatius of Loyola to search for Jesus to become our leader so that all our potentials, all our life, all ourselves will be used in the service of God and also in the service of other people. That's why I can say also that an Ignatian leader is also a formator because an Ignatian leader can also see the potential given by God to everyone. And so he will try, or she or he will try his best to allow, to cultivate, to be discovered all those talents from all the members in order for them to become leaders. That's why leaders are inspirations. You are a good leader if you know that you are or can inspire people. If you can inspire people, like Saint Ignatius of Loyola, then we can say that you are basically a good leader. My friends, this is basically the 9 characteristics that I want you to consider and to reflect or bring into your own prayer and ask yourself, do I possess all those qualities of Saint Ignatius of Loyola in order for me to become an Ignatian leader? Let me repeat. Let me summarize again all those 9 characteristics. The first one is magis. Our own desire to go for more, to love for more, to stretch everything of us, to stretch our life for the service of other people. Number 2, cura personalis, personal care. We are sensitive to the needs of other people. We want to become friends for all. We want to become closer to everyone. When we serve, we are there. Everything of us is present because cura personalis is presence. A good leader is always and will always be present to all members and to everyone. Number 3, grounding. We are sinners. We are not perfect people. We are incomplete. We are wounded. Yet, God called us to make a difference to other people. When we say that we are not perfect, that we are sinners, it is in the context of humility that we know that without God, we are nothing. But with God, God is calling us to discover our own full potential, to discover our own sense of identity that God created us in His own image and likeness. And so therefore, yes, we are sinners, yet God redeemed us, yet God gave us another chance to be able to make a difference to other people. Number 4, in this life where everything is actually very, very complicated, There are so many datas. There are so many experiences in front of us. It is important for us to learn the ropes of discernment of spirit, to be able to detect that this is bad, that this is good, to be able to know that this is evil, that this is the Holy Spirit, to be able to know that this is good, that this is better, that this is best. To be able to consider that in the discernment of spirit, this is very important for us to become a leader, because we don't want to bring our organization, our family, our members to a certain direction which is totally wrong because it came from a faulty decision making. Leaders are supposed to decide many times. And so, pray like Solomon, to pray for wisdom, to pray for discernment of spirit, to be able to become a good shepherd leading all his or her flock or sheep. The next one is number 5, insight. To see God in everything. That's very important. Sometimes we have this tendency to conclude that God is only present in good times but not in bad times. That God is only present in the light but not in darkness. That I cannot see God in my own failure. I cannot see God in my own sickness. I cannot see God in my own struggle. But if we have that insight, that capacity to see God in all things, then I can easily say that God is always with me. Not only in good times, but also in my bad times. Not only in my triumph, but also in my defeat. Not only in my health, but also in my sickness. And when I can see God in everything, in all things, then it will always give me certain courage and faith to be able to stand always and to be daring to go even to those territories that we are afraid to go to. The next is going to the periphery. The Ignatian leader will always search for something better. The Ignatian leader, or if you're an Ignatian leader, you will always leave your own comfort zones, go to the risk zones if this is necessary to be able to bring justice, to be able to bring better life, to be able to help other people. We will never say no. We shall leave our own comfort zones and search and go for those areas or peripheries that nobody wants to go because of fear. The Ignatian leader are brave, audacious to go to the periphery. Number 7, we are crucicentrics. We are, in a way, have the ability to offer ourselves, even to the point of offering our life to the Lord, and do some sacrifices like the crucified Jesus for the sake of other people, because we love other people. If we have that ability to embrace our own pain, to go for sacrifices, and also self-denial and dying, then we can say that we are a good leader. Because there's no glory without pain. The next is, a good leader will always offer himself totally to the Lord, because we realize that we are so blessed. And so therefore, it is important for us to offer to the Lord everything for His glory. And of course, the last one is, if you're a good leader, you're supposed to be a good follower, because a good follower is also a good leader. But in the context of that such realization, we need to consider that a good leader should always be a formator. That's why Ateneans are good formators. The Jesuits are supposed to be good formator because we form people in order for them to become a leader. We form people in order for them to be able for them to discover their own talents and potentials. Because leaders will always search and see and cultivate the talents of everyone to be able to use those talents and potentials to serve the glory of God. So those are the 9 characteristics. You know, looking at my life here in the Jesuit Mission Station in Caloocan City, I remember my own experience as a leader that I realized that people are actually, I transform people not because I'm a good speaker. I transform people because I inspire people. Because they realize that I'm always with them. There's always a cooler personalist. I realize that somehow they are inspired because I'm not afraid to go and dare to those risk zone, to those areas that nobody dare to go. Many or 2 years ago, when I was asked by my provincial to come here and man the Jesuit mission station and to live with the poor, it was actually also something new to me because before coming here, I was actually the vice president for formation in the Ateneo de Zamboanga. And Ateneo de Zamboanga is more or less became my own comfort zones because I realized that I am actually doing good there because I'm serving the students like you. But after 10 years staying there, I realized that there's something in me that I know that I need to do. That I know that I need to leave my own comfort zones because God is calling me to do something more. And that something more is basically magis. And so, one day, the provincial said, go to Caloocan City. Because in Caloocan City, here, where I am residing right now, 2 years ago, the extrajudicial killings because of the drug addiction was actually very, very high. There are at least every day, at least 4 to 5 drug addicts are actually being killed or were actually being killed. So, the presence of the church is badly needed here to be able to protect and to help people who needs protection coming from the church. So I came here because we need to protect life. We know that these people are drug addicts, but even if they are drug addicts, they need to be saved because they are sinners, yes, like us. And yet we know that they are also capable of becoming a good person or holy person. So I came here. When I came here, it was actually a very difficult month for me at the very beginning because I do not know what to do. But I started with just listening to the people. I started just talking to people, playing chess, playing basketball, just moving around, talking to lasengero, talking to those little children, even talking to the drug addicts. And after that, I realized that my presence, even if I'm doing nothing, just by mere presence, was actually more than enough to allow or for the people here to know that they are not alone, that God is actually with them. Wala nga po ako masyadong ginagawa rito at the very beginning. Presensya ko lang, nakikinig lang ako sa mga magulang, mga kamag-anak na mga pinatay sa extrajudicial killing. Pinakikinggan ko lang. And then lo and behold, before you know it, ang lakas pala ng epekto ng ako'y narito lang dahil ang aking presensya ay napakalaking epekto para sa kanila sapagat alam nila na hindi sila pinababayaan ng Diyos. And from then on, we started building leaders. We started selecting or recruiting volunteers and also young people to help the church. And then before you know it, it grew. And then before you know it, now we have many volunteers, many young people working in the Jesuit mission station because of the leadership that we decided to bring it here, which is just the leadership of witnessing, the leadership of loving, the leadership of accompaniment, the leadership of just being here, the leadership of accepting them as they are. Now I realize why the incarnation of Jesus or the Lord, why the Lord or God have decided to go for the incarnation. Why the second person in the Trinity decided to jump out of heaven to become a person like us, because the best leadership is more on the accompaniment, more on empowering people, more on stretching ourselves the way the Lord stretched himself. The way we realize that when you look at the life of Saint Ignatius did so many acts of magis, going beyond himself, going beyond what people are expecting from him, because presence is very important as a leader. I don't think we can be a good leader in the Ignatian tradition if our presence, our cura personalis, our more or magis, our own capacity to discern what is right and wrong, our own capacity to totally offer ourselves in God and in the service of other people, our own capacity to, in a way, form other people. I don't think we can be a good Ignatian leaders. Be a men and women for other people. 2 years na po ako dito sa Jesuit mission station, and I realized that I can even say that this is one of the best 2 years of my life as a Jesuit. I'm a Jesuit for more than 30 years old or 35 years old. But I can say that my staying here and living with the poorest of the poor is actually one of the highlights of my own Jesuit life. I cannot say that I am a leader per se here, in the context of understanding that the leader is always in front. But I realized here that the best leadership is you walk side by side. When you empower people, when you allow people to feel that they are not alone, that you are at their side, when they can feel that you are there for them, when they can feel that you accept them as they are, then they are being empowered. Because leadership is basically to empower people, to inspire people. Leadership is not just to control people or to tell to people what to do, but leadership is to allow people to discover their own potential and their own talents and their own sense of identity and mission because of our own presence. And for me, I guess when I look at the different Jesuits, my brother Jesuits that I have experienced, I realized that what formed me, the Jesuit that inspires me more, are those who are actually in the front lines, those who are actually living with the poorest of the poor, or even if they're not living with the poorest of the poor, if they are teaching in the Ateneo, but their life is basically a life of service, a life of total dedication when they teach in the different Ateneo. That's for me more than inspiration. When I can see a Jesuit talking to a student, and then that student is inspired, or that student was in a way consoled by the presence of this Jesuit, I guess that Jesuit is actually a good leader. Katup ko ganun din di ba? Kapag ikaw bilang isang leader ng Ateneo, or kapag ikaw ay lumabas na ng Ateneo, kapag ikaw ay naging inspirasyon sa pamamagitan ng iyong mga salita at higit dyan sa pamamagitan ng iyong gawa na nakikita sa iyong buhay sapagkat punong-puno ka ng fire katulad ng fire ni San Ignacio de Loyola na hindi ka susuko na kahit na nagkaroon ka man ng experience ng tinatawag nating mga sugat katulad ni San Ignacio, babangon at tatayo tayo kahit na tayo ay magkaroon at tamaan ng maraming cannonballs. It will never ever stop us. But instead, it will always inspire us to move forward, to go for more, to search and leave our own comfort zones and go to the periphery, because in the end, we recognize that God is the best example for us when He decided to jump out of heaven to be with us. Leadership is basically like that. To inspire people, to form people, to empower people, to allow people to discover who they are, to accompany people. You're a good leader. Saint Ignatius of Loyola will always insist on the importance of contemplation, meditation, and reflection to walk with the Lord and just walk with Him and view how He talks, listen how He talks, see how He acts and heal people, and then learn from our own Lord. Because in the end, my friends, we become what we think. We become what we contemplate. Saint Ignatius will always insist the importance of prayer, because when we pray, we become like Jesus. Because Jesus will always be the best model of a leader. Second is Saint Ignatius of Loyola. I hope you will become the third, because we have learned how to inspire, how to empower people, and how to form people, and how to accompany them in their own daily life. Maraming salamat po. Ako po si Father Willie Samson ng Kapisanan ni Jesus dito sa Jesuit Mission Station sa Diocese ng Caloocan City. Maraming salamat po. You are a leader.